Trucks are rolling. The Kentucky 201 just moments away from getting underway for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Starting grid rolls across the top of the screen. Joey Coulter grabbed that top spot. Johnny Sauter will start on either the inside or outside. That's Joey Coulter's decision as to which line he wants to take. We're going to ride along with a few different drivers. We've got some great pictures to show you tonight, and here's who we'll ride with.
How about let's take a ride along with an 18-year-old at a high rate of speed on a Friday night? How's that sound? Well,
Sounds
this isn't
great.
just any 18-year-old. Our most recent winner won in just his third start in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Ryan Blaney rolls off 16th.
We're going to also ride along with the 17 truck of Timothy Peters, the Red Horse Racing Toyota. Timothy will start back in the 13th spot. He's got to wrestle that point lead back away now.
My fantasy pick is also my guy that I think is going to win the championship. So, heck, why wouldn't I get in the truck with him and ride along? Ty Dillon is going to start third in the Tracker Boats Bass Pro Shop Chevy. Look for some good shots out of this truck.
We're also going to ride along with Johnny Sauter in the Hot Honeys Curb Records Toyota. Let's see if we can chat with Johnny. Hey, Johnny Sauter. Phil Parsons up in the speed booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, 10-4. Go ahead, Phil.
Johnny, you've already got a 1.5 mile win this year. You got a great starting spot up here in the front row. I know this season now comes a deal where you're just looking for wins. You got one in you tonight?
I think so. I mean, everybody at Thor Sport, Joe, and everybody's done a good job on this Hot Honeys Curb Records Toyota. We have been working pretty hard at this stuff. Had a great run last week, and Kentucky's usually a racetrack we run really well at. So you just never know. You practice in the day, and you race at night, so the racetrack can change. But I feel pretty good about it. We got good track position. We just got to be smart. Get her to the end.
All right, Johnny. Good luck, bud. Thanks.
Thank you.
We've heard from the driver. Let's hear about the driver from our guys on pit road. We start with Ray.
Well, Rick, thank you. You know, I wanted to talk about Johnny Sauter because when you look back at his numbers for this season, it's almost amazing. They have had horrible luck with that number 13 truck. And as Phil said, one win. But other than that, not much to talk about. But I want to look at the racetracks that are remaining on our schedule for the rest of this year. When you look at the tracks coming up, really good numbers for Johnny Sauter. A lot of tracks that he's won at. This particular track tonight, as he said, I think they've got a shot. But as we move further in the season, this 13 could rebound from what's been a horrible season so far. Hermie?
Well, Ray, we were only at this Kentucky Speedway a couple of months ago, but they were on a different left side tire. NASCAR has brought a new tire here tonight. Why? They need more stability on the entry to the corners. This is the Dover left side tire, a racetrack. Because of the transitions into the corners, stability is an issue. So they brought the same left side tires from Dover here to Kentucky. Goodyear thinks more stability and more grip will lead to better racing. Now, one other small change, a little bit less stagger in the rear. So the trucks have been talking a little bit about a tight condition on the racetrack. We'll see who can adjust to that tonight, Rick, and have a chance to go to victory lane.
Thanks, Hermie. And will it be another first-time winner? We have seen, as Michael pointed out, 4 out of the last 5 races, a first-time winner has gone to victory lane as we look at this 1.5 mile and the statistics.
You know, those corners banked at 14 degrees, Phil. I raced here in July in the Cup race. They fall out from underneath of you in a hurry. These trucks will be reaching 185, 90 miles an hour as they go down to the corner. And, man, they feel flat when you get there.
And it's the shortest straightaways of any 1.5 mile we have.
Our race analysis, 36 trucks starting.
That
134 laps, just over 201 miles.
That means it's the longest corners then, right?
That's right. Absolutely. You see the pit window, 52 to 57 laps. 2 sets of tires in the pits for these guys, plus the one on the truck. They want to stop about every 45 laps. We'll see if the cautions allow them to.
Lights go out on the pace truck. That means next time by the green flag will fly. Looks as though Joey Coulter is choosing the outside line. Good decision here, guys.
I love that. The trucks have a tendency on the bottom of the racetrack to get really loose. I talked about the banking falling out from underneath of you as you approach the turns. When you're on the bottom, you got another guy on your outside. That just amplifies the problem. So I love the fact that Coulter picked the high side. I also love the fact that these guys can race 2 wide here at Kentucky. We'll see a lot of side-by-side action, a lot of options for these drivers when they get down to the corners.
How do you pass somebody at this racetrack? As we're looking right now at the 4, a lot of smoke coming out the right side of that truck, out of the exhaust.
Yeah, that's where the tailpipes come out, and that's certainly a sign that they've got something amiss in the valve train, I would guess. And heck, he hadn't even barely got that baby running and it's smoking. So I don't understand how that couldn't have been something they recognized during qualifying, but must have just cropped up.
A tough break for Dakota Switch's teams here. Comes with Turner Motorsports, and it doesn't look like Doesn't look like it's starting out certainly very good.
And it looks as though they've put the lights back on the pace truck, meaning that they're going to go around one more time. Historical season. We're talking about amazing stats for the whole season. 15 races, 12 different winners already. We tied the record of first-time winners last week when Ryan Blaney went to victory lane.
Yeah, but we tied the record that was set 15 years ago or whatever. To me, this is really amazing that we've had, 88 different winners in this series. 70 or 80 different winners in this series here, and now we've 77 different winners we've had in this series, and now we've had 7 new ones here. Look at the list of people that have already won in the series, and we've got 7 new ones.
And look at this record. Ryan Blaney, 18 years old in 8 months. Last week in Iowa gets a victory. That's over a year younger than Kyle Busch was when he got his first win. So it tells you we knew there was a youth movement here in the Truck Series. We knew there were a bunch of young guys that were just so close to winning a year ago. They put it all together this year.
We've got a couple Dylans on that list too. One of them's in this race tonight.
That's right. And the bottom one is my pick, my fantasy pick, my championship pick. That kid is doing everything right, Phil. He's got a great truck. Oh, good. There's a lot of people out there with a good truck. He's able to take advantage of the circumstances, the situation, and I believe, the coaching he gets from his pop, his brother that won this championship a year ago. He's surrounded by championship-winning crew members. That's got to just give him so much confidence, and he hasn't let them down once. He's been pretty much mistake-free all year long.
His career average finish in this series is 7.5. Best in the history of the series, Martin, Kyle Busch at 7.4. That's a pretty rare company up there.
And remember 3 races ago at Bristol with just 2 laps to go, he was riding in the 4th spot. He could taste victory at Bristol. He was that close. Ran out of gas, finished 21st. That's the only time this young man has ever finished outside the top 20 in his Truck Series career.
A couple of the guys in the field today on that list of all-time winners in the mile-and-a-half. And Kyle Busch has been the most successful on mile-and-a-half racetracks. Guys, I teed on it a little bit. Very close field here as far as qualifying. How do you get around someone here?
You just use those grooves I talked about. Heck, you can run down on the bottom of the racetrack if someone's running in the middle. You can even get outside of them, up in the white there. There's grip up there, and these guys will be all over this racetrack. You can bet on it.
And they're going to start slipping and sliding a little bit, too. Now, these things aren't going to drive like baby carriages.
A new left side tire compound coming in to this race for the trucks from what they ran earlier this year. We'll see what difference that makes. The field 2x2 behind the 22 of Joey Coulter and the 13 of Johnny Sauter. Field coming into the quad oval. Green flag goes in the air. We're underway.
Green. Still inside there. Inside trying to crowd you. Inside trying to crowd you.
Trying to crowd you. Heard the spotter. Just let him know what all's going on out there. Look at Nelson Piquet already trying to find a 3rd groove, and we only made 1 turn so far.
Side by side still for the lead. Now Joey Coulter moves in front of that 13 on the high side. Let's see if the momentum works for him through 3 and 4.
Nice run through the early part of that corner.
A lot of people down in the garage area talking about this 22 truck with Coulter as having not only a fast truck in qualifying, but in his long runs during practice this afternoon, one of the faster trucks there as well. So he's fast for a lap. It looks like he's going to be fast for a lot if you listen to the garage area.
Out in front of the field for lap number 1, Joey Coulter got his first win earlier this year, one of those first-time winners in 2012. Johnny Sauter, Nelson Piquet Jr., James Buescher, and Cale Gale, your top 5.
We talked about
working to the inside of that 31.
And we talked about how difficult it is to hold that line down on the bottom of the racetrack. You can see Cale tiptoe into that corner. You want to make sure you don't make a mistake when you dive down in the turn. Have that truck well under control, but because she'll switch ends on you in a hurry if you get in there too hard.
And we saw that out of Ryan Blaney in the first practice earlier today.
And you can watch these trucks moving around. Now, this is not one of the smoother racetracks that we'll run here. These guys are going to bounce around a little bit.
I talked with Tim George earlier today, and he made the comment, he said he felt like he was in a Cadillac. The truck was bouncing that much over these bumps, and they were trying to figure out how to get it sealed to the racetrack through those bumps.
And that's what I love about a track like this. You can't get it sealed to the racetrack, Rick. It's too bumpy. You can get it to return to the racetrack, but it's going to be up and down. You can see the truck, the Ford truck here of Dakota Armstrong, trouble on the parade lap. What are they saying now, Hermie?
Well, they thought under caution before the race started, Michael, that they thought it would be okay just blowing off a little bit of smoke. And once the green flag came out, now he is underpowered, and they're trying to decide what they think the problem may be. A lot of officials from not only Turner Motorsports, but also Hendrick engines, where they get the engines for the 4 truck. Talking about the possibilities, don't be surprised to see the 4 truck on pit road very soon.
And the problem with that is it's with that smoke, it doesn't sound like it's a plug wire or something like that, something easy to fix.
Yeah, and what's wrong with it? It's probably down a cylinder, at least a half a cylinder. Something isn't right underneath the hood of that truck, and it'll eventually explain to the crew what's wrong with it. It'll probably break
in a big way.
Exactly.
Turner Motorsports drivers racing for the 3rd spot. The 4th now as PK Jr. and Bush are running 4th and 5th.
Battles all over this race.
3 wide right there.
There's your 3 wide.
Ryan
Duel
Blaney
between.
moving to the outside, gets by both the 17 and the 88.
We documented that Ryan Blaney had trouble in that first practice session, was making a mock qualifying run, got into the outside wall, brought a backup truck out. That's actually his Las Vegas primary truck here that he's running. He was a little bit tentative once he first got in that truck. By the end of practice, he was going again.
Doesn't look tentative at all now either.
Sure
3
does.
wide around the outside and grab that spot away.
Riding along with Timothy Peters. What's that team saying down there, Ray?
It was interesting, Rick, listening to him on the radio during practice today. Timothy Peters wanting to make a bigger adjustment on the truck than his crew chief Butch Hilton would let him. They said, we feel like the racetrack will be so different tonight, we don't want to go too far. But in practice today, he was really, really tight. He said, hopefully it'll be different in the racetrack. So far, no word from the driver on 17.
Well, when he watched that 29 of Ryan Blaney drive around the outside of him 3 wide, he was probably thinking, I knew we should have made a bigger adjustment. He lost that spot to Blaney, but he was able to hold off Max Gresham. You see Max returning to the series, driving that A truck. Good run early for that young man. All these trucks are running inside the top 15.
Field spreading out now as we see Parker Kligerman just in front of the 3. Ty Dillon, 2 of our points contenders. Ty Dillon coming in as your points leader. After troubles for Parker Kligerman a week ago in Iowa, he dropped down in the standings.
You could see Dillon all the way off the racetrack on the bottom of the track. He went down below that yellow line trying to find some extra grip. We talked about the fact that you could run all the way up into the white. I don't think running down on the apron will work too well.
I don't think so either.
Out in front of the field, it's still the 22 of Joey Coulter. Won the pole in front now. Auction's most anticipated lots cross the block when live coverage continues tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, right here on Speed. And right now, everyone's doubling down on 2s. That's the 22 of Joey Coulter out in front. He has a 2-second lead over James Busher, who has gotten by Johnny Sauter now for that 2nd spot.
2s are wild then, right?
Yeah. They are wild up front.
It's a hard 4 there, isn't it?
It is a hard 4. Or Janet, we talked to her, and well,
not Bodine.
Bodine around.
Speaking of Janet, there's her husband spinning around. That's unusual to see here this early in the race. Talked about these tires having a lot of grip. He was running inside the top 10, and the baby got away from him.
Yeah, the pole was 3 miles an hour faster than it was the last time we were here a couple months ago.
Heck, I was looking up, the trucks are running faster than the cars. They're outrunning the Nationwide cars. If that doesn't tell you something about how tough these trucks are and the speed that they have in them.
Take another look. Right side of your screen, the 11 coming in.
He just got loose getting in the corner there. A lot of guys were fighting that getting in the corner as they turned down off the wall.
You can see Todd still got the gas on, Phil. He's got the foot on the gas pedal, keeping those rear tires churning away from that wall. He didn't want to just lock them up so they'd slide up toward the wall. Listen, look here as he slides down the racetrack. The reason why he's able to do that is he drove it until the very end. That's what you'll see everybody in NASCAR do, basically. They won't ever give up. They'll think there's some way they're going to get this baby saved. And because of the job Todd did spinning, he's able to keep going.
We've seen Todd Bodine spin and win before, too, remember?
Yeah, don't count that out tonight. He's strong. He's running inside the top 10.
Always very good on 1.5 mile racetracks. Aaron's lucky dog goes to Norm Benning.
And you know, something else, a caution at this point in the race, it could put some strategy into some of these guys playing. Come in, get a little gas, maybe 2 tires. Some people might stay out, but I think most of them will probably want a little gas, won't they, Phil?
You would think so. That gets them in the window where they're comfortably, be able to make us on 2 more stops. But I don't know. I think almost now the guys at the back of the lead line really have nothing to lose by coming in. The guys up front probably don't want to give up the track position, but we're going to see what happens here.
We sure saw a lot of pit strategy a week ago in Iowa. Guys choosing not to come onto pit road when conventional thought would have been they should have been on pit road.
It looks like they're getting ready to come down pit road. You see Joey all the way down on the bottom of the racetrack. I'd say they're coming.
Long line of trucks making their way down onto the
come on
apron.
down here.
They saw what happened last week.
Follow the leader onto pit road. A few trucks back, the 31. Right now running in the second spot, James Busher. We go to pit road and hurry.
All right, come on down here.
Rick, it's going to be fuel only and a slight wedge adjustment for the 31 of James Busher. A little bit free on exit. Ray.
Honey Sauter's Hot Honey's race truck is a little bit tight in the center. They're going to make a wedge adjustment for him. At the bottom of your screen, you see Nelson Piquet Jr. This is the truck that he used to win at Michigan. Those guys get their service and are already away. And now at the front of the field, Joey Coulter will get fuel in his truck. He comes in first. He'll roll out third behind the 7 and the 18.
It looked like a very close call for Todd Bodine trying to get in his stall.
It may have been a little closer than that. It looked like he may have made some contact with Nelson Piquet Jr. as Nelson was leaving. That's what happens when you do fuel only. You get a lot of trucks coming out of their pit after their pit stop and a lot of guys coming in at the same time.
Take another look.
And we know Todd was limping to pit road because he had just spun and had those tires down. And, you know, at that point, Todd couldn't see that PK was right beside him, so he was just cutting over to get toward his pit, and those trucks did make a little bit of contact.
So Nelson Piquet Jr. a little bit of damage to that 30 as they go back out onto the track. From the drop of the green flag, it has been the 22 of Joey Coulter dominating from Kentucky until the first caution came out. A little strategy taking place on pit road. And that puts the 7 of Parker Kligerman out in front now with the 99 of Brian Silas.
Yeah, Brian Silas did not come down pit road, so he actually is our leader. He chose the inside. Parker Kligerman now won the race off pit road. He will start on the outside of the front row.
Brian Scott also making some moves on pit road. He was able to pick up 6 spots and will restart this race in the 3rd position.
It's going to be interesting to see Joey Coulter's truck. He hasn't had any dirty air yet. He's been out front the entire time till the caution came out. So it's going to be interesting to see with him behind Parker Kligerman what's going to happen.
I told you this strategy was fun. You get a caution around lap 15 or 16 and people go crazy on you. What I look for is to see if Brian Scott can go 3 wide on them when they get down to turn 1. But Brian Silas isn't going to take a chance on that. He left early and got a lead into 1.
Matt Crafton made a 3 wide for just a moment, trying to get underneath Cale Gale in the 33. How about Ty Dillon on the outside?
Didn't take long. Brian Scott takes over the top spot. Behind him, James Busher in the 31 and the 7 of Parker Kligerman on the high side, trying to battle for that 2nd position.
Look at Joey Coulter now. He's back a couple spots. He lost a couple spots on that restart. Johnny Sauter also backing up. Johnny spinning.
And around they go. Johnny Sauter into the wall as well as Tim George. He has contact.
Todd Bodine spins again as well. Todd's backwards up in turn 4. There's some damage to the left front of that truck.
Left side damage to the 11 of Todd Bodine. We were riding along with the 13. He has damage as well as the 2 of Tim George.
You know, you wonder, we saw Johnny Sauter backing up. You wonder if maybe he had a tire going down or something, because hardly anybody came down pit road. You see some damage to the 13 truck. Almost nobody put any tires on.
A lot of damage to the right rear of the 13. You see the sheet metal hanging out on that race truck as he comes to the attention of his crew on pit road, as does the 11 of Todd Bodine just in front of him.
Johnny restarted in the 8th spot. Let's take a look at this now. You see Johnny right there in the middle of the racetrack.
Yeah, he's definitely got a tire going
Looked
down.
like maybe left rear, Michael.
Wow, what a job by Brennan Newberry getting by, but there was nowhere for Tim George to go, and you saw Todd Bodine clipping him too as he goes by. Let's watch this tire. Listen as this tire goes down. He knows he's in trouble.
2 of Tim George came in.
The second bounce was Todd Bodine clipping him as well.
Yeah, nothing for those guys. Nothing could have been done there.
So the hits keep coming for the 13 team in 2012. Todd Bodine also with issues, right?
The damage on this number 11 Toyota Care Tundra is very extensive. They're going to have to push him to the garage. And we did hear Johnny Sauter say on the radio before the crash even happened, my tire is going down. And they did determine after this pit stop, guys, you were right, it was the left rear.
And back on pit road once again for the 13 team, not wanting to lose a lap. but a lot of damage to that race truck.
We talked to him, right? You know, on the pace lap, he was very optimistic here. Had a great qualifying effort, qualified up on the front row, and man, oh man.
You can see that dark streak of oil down pit road. That's Todd Bodine's oil. Got an oil cooler when he hit the left front of that truck, and that's why they had to take it back to the garage. Hermie, what are they saying down there, bud?
Well, we got Dakota and the guys behind me. The engine is locked up. They don't really know why, but I got to tell you, I just heard Mr. Turner come tell you, apologize for the engine, and they're going to give you another chance in this truck. So that's got to make things a little bit better.
Yeah, I put my hats on all these guys. They work so hard. It's disappointing for it to end like this, but I know they're a great bunch of guys, and if we do get back in it, we'll have a good run. So, I think we were going a little under power there in practice, and I think it just might have been just kind of letting go. And as soon as we took the green there, it just had no power, and it was gone. And came in there, and it was done. So. But disappointing, hopefully, they'll work on it and figure out hopefully nothing happens to our teammates out there and they're fine.
But that's Dakota Armstrong. Hopefully he'll get another shot in his truck. Remember, he told us in the pre-race show this would be the last two raw unless somebody comes along to help them. So maybe they'll get another chance in this Ford truck.
Also, the 11 of Todd Bodine back in the garage. The 13 of Johnny Sauter has extensive damage. We'll be back with the green flag next. And tough luck continues for the number 13 here in Kentucky.
And the guys that were trying to pass him.
And the guys who were trying to pass him, including the 11 of Todd Bodine and the 2 of Tim George.
How about that quarter panel they fashioned out of a piece of aluminum?
Sometimes when you fix it, you can make it better than it was.
See, Johnny already realizes he has a left rear tire going down. He's just trying to slow down and just keep his line so people had to wait around him. And then that tire just deflated all at once, or continued to deflate, and around he went.
How fortunate was he that Tim George Jr. caught him right square in the door? Doesn't look like he was able to, it didn't hit the left front tire or the rear into the roll bars, and that certainly won't hurt much. You can hear Johnny working the gas.
And I'm like you, I like the way his quarter panel looks. Should be a lot of side force with that new quarter panel.
Heck, I'd go ahead and put me a new left side on it too while I was at it. You don't want these trucks to be wrinkled up at 180 miles an hour. This team has done a great job so far, I'll tell you that, Ray.
And Mikey, it kind of looks like a dirt late model back there, but Johnny said the front end is good. They did have a bracket off of the fender they had to pull out, but so far the front is good. He said it's steering okay, so the 13 may not be as bad as it looked in the original part of that crash. Hermie?
Well, Todd Bodine in the garage, they say track position is important. He lost it on previously. He ended up getting caught up in an accident. What happened from your point of view?
Well, the big wreck right there, I don't know what happened up front. They all jammed up, and I run in the back of the tube, and I was on the brakes for all I could get, and just they all jammed up in front of me. Knocked the radiator back and got the oil cooler. It's probably, I don't think we're going to fix it. If we were up in the points, we would, but it's not worth it now. It's a shame. We had our Toyota Tundra was fast. It was really good in the beginning there. I don't know what happened when I spun out. I don't know if I hit some oil or something. The 22 in front of me got sideways too, so I don't know if I just lost it or not, but that's what caused the whole thing. Trey, you can't be in the back, you got to be up front, and, so I take the blame for this one, and I don't know, it's getting old.
It's Todd Bodine, another frustrating finish for this 11 team, but they'll keep working on it.
Thanks, Hermie. We've talked to Todd Bodine before the end of the race more times this year than probably all the previous years he's run in the truck race combined. Very difficult 2012 for him. Michael Waltrip Racing All Access. NASCAR race day fueled by Sunoco. That's Sunday, 11 Eastern, live on Speed.
5 times got his work cut out for him Sunday, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Up at Chicago, started up front and stayed there all day long. 18th qualifying today. It's going to be a great race from out in short track action. I know it's a mile, so it's technically a super speedway. They're going to act like they're on a short track Sunday in New Hampshire.
Your guys had a pretty good day today, huh?
Yeah, our guys were solid. It's been a fun chase so far. 1 race down, 9 to go. We hadn't lost anything so far, so see how it goes.
Up front of this one, it's Brian Scott. They used a little pit road strategy to get some positions off of pit road and up front. Now, James Busher just behind him, Parker Kligerman, Nelson Piquet Jr., and Cale Gale, your top 5.
I think we got to give credit to the pit crew for the 18 truck. But everyone came in and got fuel only, and they were able to get him out very early, got him out in the 4th spot. He gained about 4 or 5 spots on pit road, and he took that lead initially right after the restart.
You know, I might sacrifice a gallon or two of gas to get that track position. We know how hard it is to pass. Maybe you don't fill it completely up, get out and get in front. You're going to have to make another stop anyway for tires before long. Maybe they took a bit of a gamble, or maybe they just nailed that stop. And like you said, Phil, crew deserves all the credit.
Safety crews still continue to clean up after this most recent incident where Johnny Sauter and the 11 as well as the 2 all involved. They'll clean up. We'll be right back with the green flag. Learn about clean coal with Dale Jr. Text ENERGY to 85080 to join coal supporters across the country, or visit americaspower.org.coalfacts. Field beginning to go 2 by 2 once again. The lights have gone off the pace truck out in front. It'll be Brian Scott and James Busher making up row number 1. Brian Scott has chose the outside line for the restart in that Dollar General Toyota.
That 31 truck of James Busher has been extremely fast in the early going here, making moves up through the top 5. I don't know, Phil. I think maybe he's got the truck to not only hold that inside line and grab the lead, but maybe walk off with it.
And that truck's been pretty fast on all the mile-and-a-halves this year. That's the same truck, I believe, that won all 3 of the mile-and-a-half races that he's won this year.
He has been the dominant truck on mile-and-a-halves.
Don't be surprised if he makes a statement here.
We'll see who wins the drag race. Coming out of turn number 4, Brian Scott has the advantage. He's the race leader, so he is supposed to be able to start or restart this race.
He is in charge of this restart. He has to start within the zone, but he is in control of this restart.
And then he has the advantage of, he should be the first truck back to the start-finish line. 2 by 2 all behind Brian Scott as they come through turn 4 into the quad oval. Green flag back in the air. We're back under power. And again, as you mentioned, down on the bottom of the racetrack, James Busher very strong on that bottom line. We'll see if momentum works for the 18.
Ty Dillon went down, made it 3 wide to make a pass.
The 18 trying to get back up on the outside of that 31 as they go down the backstretch, side by side, door to door for the lead.
18 got a little bit of a push from the teammate of the 31, Nelson BK Jr. in the 30.
Still side by side, working through 4. Now the advantage goes to the 18, but just by a half a truck length. Across the stripe, almost a dead heat. 16 1/1000ths of a second separated the 2, and here goes the 31 in front of the 18.
Joey Coulter made it 3 wide. He made some contact with a 7 to Kligerman.
It's Busher, Scott, PK Jr., Kligerman, and Coulter, your top 5.
Oh, caution, we got a spinner up in turn 4. That's Brian Silas. We saw him up front on the last restart. The truck slid back through the field. They came to pit road, and now he's gotten to the outside wall.
Damage to the back of that truck. We saw the spring fall out from underneath it. See it shortened up on the left side. So the caution comes out once again. This is the 3rd caution.
I think that was a bit of a statement, like we said, from James Busher. I've got a fast truck, boys. If I get out in front, you're liable not to see me anymore. He was able to hold that bottom for a whole lap before he squirted out ahead down in turn 1.
Now, does James Busher, since he got the lead on the bottom of the racetrack, does he restart on the bottom, or does he take the preferred higher line?
I think he goes up top. I believe that truck is. I think that it was a hard pass for him to make. He had to run side by side for a whole lap. I think he's on the outside. He gets the jump into turn 1. He probably makes easier work of Brian Scott. We'll see. He certainly did what you said, Rick. Right. He was on the bottom and got the lead. How do you argue with that kind of success?
And again, the problems for the 99 team.
Oh, there's an Aaron's lucky dog. Look there. Ryan Sieg's going to get to go around, and courtesy of Aaron's, get a lap back on his credit. I mean, on the field.
He's 2 laps down, so that'll put him within 1.
What a great race coming down the front stretch as we're on board with Ty Dillon.
Watch these guys battling for the lead. Coulter all the way down on the apron. You saw the sparks fly. Wonder if that could have done some damage to the front of that truck, Bill.
And I don't think the 7 of Kligerman knew he was down there. Watch this. They're going to make some contact here. Watch. Parker's going to go down. You see him make a little contact right there.
And look, boom. Remember, wasn't it a couple years ago where Kyle Busch went down on the apron during qualifying and had to go to repair his truck before he could start the race?
Had to start at the back.
That's exactly right. I hope that Coulter didn't do any damage to that fast truck of his.
So after just 1 lap of green flag racing, the caution comes back out, but a change at the top spot. Busher, your new leader in Kentucky. Hey race fans, Speed has teamed up with your favorite tracks to offer amazing ticket deals you can't get anywhere else. The Talladega Experience is a place to go to see driver interviews, meet Speed's on-air talent, play games, and win free swag. Visit speed.com/deals to save on your next tickets. Still working to get the 99 of Brian Silas back on the flatbed so they can get that back to pit road and actually back into the garage area. Brian already out of that truck and will be carted to the infield care center. He walked to the ambulance and got in there, so he will be checked out. It's James Busher out in front. He was able to take the advantage away from Brian Scott. He started on the inside, was able to make that number 31 work on the bottom of the racetrack to take the lead position away from Brian Scott. Nelson Piquet Jr., Joey Coulter, Parker Kligerman, your top 5. And it's Peters, Ty Dillon, Cale Gale, David Mayhew has moved up into the 9th spot, and Miguel Paludo is in the top 10.
You know, I was kidding you earlier about your pick of David Mayhew for the fantasy pool, but I'm not kidding you, Rick. If that cat won this race tonight, I don't think anybody would be surprised.
No.
Driving a great truck for Brad Keselowski Racing, and Mayhew has proven on the short tracks all over the West Coast that he knows how to win races.
Right.
And every time he comes racing with us in the truck series, he runs in the top 10. So just messing with you a little bit because everybody knows what David Mayhew can do behind the wheel of a truck.
Yeah, he was very strong in practice, as was the 31 of Busher, right, Hermie?
They've been strong since they've been here. Won here last time, but all these caution laps, you started to talk to your driver about strategy. What's going on in that little brain of yours up there?
We're just watching the weather. There's a little bit of rain coming. We don't want to paint ourselves in a box and lay it all on the line for a little bit of rain. We'd like to win this thing outright, you know. So I think it'll go. Excuse me. I think it'll go the full distance. We're just going to play it safe here.
You made a little bit of a chassis adjustment on your first stop, a little bit of wedge in. With the track changing and now the weather changing, when you put 4 tires on, you think you'd have to make some more adjustments to keep up with the racetrack?
Yeah, I mean, we fired off here a little free. Putting the fuel in there when we did, we felt like we needed to be a little tighter, so we put a little wedge in. But it's pretty good. I mean, he's balanced. Balance is real good. It's been real good the whole race. We just need to get some green flags in here and see where we're at.
That's Mike Shelton. What's going on your end of pit road, Ray?
Well, Hermie, I'm up on the pit box with Harold Hawley. He is the crew chief for Joey Coulter. And obviously, guys had a great truck in qualifying. What has Joey told you on the radio about how it is in race?
So far, just a touch snug off on that first run. We pitted there and took fuel and made a little small wedge adjustment. It seems to be pretty neutral right now. So we just had to keep up with what the track brings us tonight. But he's pretty tickled with it right now.
What is the perfect pit strategy if it went your way? When would you like to put tires on?
Well, we got to come around 72, 74 right now, so that'll get us past halfway. There's some rain about 15 to 18 miles out right now, but there's a big opening behind it, so I think we'll get all the laps in tonight, so we'll have to see how that plays out.
All right, thank you, Harold, and chance for a little bit of rain, but it doesn't look like a big one, guys.
Yeah, right. We have seen on the radar earlier, it looked as though there was going to be rain as an issue for the start of this race, but up to this point, we haven't had any issues. We hope that it stays away. Welcome back. 49 laps complete of the scheduled 134. People talking about the potential of rain in the area, and they're throwing miles away from this racetrack. But we want to take a look at our Duplicolor shining moment. It could come into play early, and it's for Justin Lofton. He's at number 6. Right now, he is in the 4th spot, but only one truck stayed out. Jason White, Joey Coulter in front of him.
He came in on lap 41. That's only 6 laps before. The rest of the field just came in, and it gave him all that track position. If his truck is good enough to stay up there, this may be his time to shine.
That's a burnout that shines. Got it off pit road. He's in good shape. Love the shape his tires in. Don't be shocked, fellas, when they throw this green flag. If you don't see that 6 truck, dive to the bottom of Jason White and make them 3 wide. We've seen these truck guys. They love restarts. They'll go 3 wide on you in a heartbeat.
Ray, right now, the 17 of Timothy Peters back there in the 10th spot.
Yeah, and he was one of the trucks on my end of pit road that put 4 tires on. He was saying that his truck a good bit loose on entry, a little bit loose off too, about a number 3 on a 1 to 10 scale. Also want to update the drinkb.com Chevrolet. Nelson Piquet Jr. also loose. They made air pressure adjustments on the right side and put 4 tires on there. And as I told you at the end of the pit stop, Coulter went with right sides only. He'll restart 3rd.
So out in front of the field, we've got Ryan Blaney. He was in 11, stayed out on the racetrack under this most recent caution. He pitted on lap 30. You've also got Jason White in the 23 in that gunbroker.com.
Jason pitted back on lap 41 with Justin Lofton.
And I got to tip my hat to that crew, too. They'll give Jason some track position. They figure out a way to get Jason up front during the course of these events, and a lot of times he's able to hang on to that track position. I love these calls right now, especially with weather looming. You never know when a shower comes in here and ends this baby, and a lot of guys have put themselves in a really good position here to take advantage of it.
Ryan Blaney maybe in a position to make it 2 in a row for the youngest winner in the Camping World Truck Series history. Coming through the quad oval once again. Ryan Blaney on the outside. Jason White on the inside. Green flag back in the air.
Okay, here goes Justin Lofton, 3 wide.
That's a huge surprise there, Mike.
Yeah,
Lofton able to get by the 23. Now he's door to door with that 29 of Ryan Blaney. Blaney shoots out to the lead as they go through 2.
How about Ty Dillon all the way down at the bottom, making it 3 wide, maybe 4 wide.
That's a bad angle to get into the corner, so he's got to be careful driving in that shallow, but he was careful. He's able to hold the bottom pretty well.
Out in front, Ryan Blaney, then it's Justin Lofton, Joey Coulter. Ty Dillon has moved up into the 4th spot.
And look at John West Townley. He's driving around Dillon on the outside with a push from Jason White. Those trucks are inside the top 5.
That 18 of Brian Scott restarted with the lead the last time until they came on to pit road. They made some adjustments to that truck back out on the racetrack, and now he's running in the 8th position as we see Joey Coulter work by that 6 of Justin Lofton.
Joey's going to grab that 2nd spot from Justin Lofton.
What about a backup truck for young Ryan Blaney? Saving some gas. We heard him under the caution, making sure they've got plenty to get as far as they can get. He's got the lead just like he had it at Iowa, and he's holding it.
He's got a very fast RCR Chevrolet coming, though. Joey Coulter was about a 10th and a half.
Around, we've got spinning trucks. Timothy Peters backs it into the wall. One of our point contenders. Also involved the 8 of Max Gresham. That Food City Ford. The 5 of John King.
John King got involved in that late when the trucks bounced off the outside wall. He caught one of them, tore the right front off of his truck.
John King coming back after starting the season in a stellar way, winning at Daytona in the trucks, and now damage to that 5 truck.
Yeah, John was staying out of trouble, staying on a lead lap here. 54 laps into this thing.
Multiple trucks involved, including the 17. Let's take another look.
May have been some contact between the 8 of Gresham and the 17 of Timothy Peters.
Wow, did you see the job Johnny Sauter did? He slowed down to miss the truck. We saw John King watch the truck fly by Johnny Sauter. A couple of them. There goes John King late by Sauter.
Right along with Johnny.
Watch the job he does. He sees the wreck develop, and evidently John King couldn't see what was happening ahead.
You see Gresham move up the racetrack. That initiated the contact.
Watch how fast these trucks go by on the bottom, and boom. Clobbers Timothy Peters.
Yeah, certainly a lot of damage to that 17 truck.
Watch this late contact by John King. Wham! Knocked him up in the air.
Launches that 17 into the air.
That's a case where you need to make sure you're cognizant of the smoke, what's going on. Maybe you couldn't see entering the corner, but we saw how slow Johnny Sauter got. Those trucks from behind didn't get slowed down for some reason. Seemed like there would have been enough time to get it woe down a little bit.
Back to the garage area for Timothy Peters.
Timothy Peters coming in was 8 points back. Last 3 races, he wins at Bristol on a high, and then the problems ensue.
Yeah, he went into Iowa 9 points ahead. And he's going to take another big hit here.
Not only did he win at Bristol, he led that baby all night long and was very strong.
Dominated at Bristol, and things have turned for the 17. This time he goes around, has contact with the outside wall, but that's not the end of it. Right here, the 5 gets him up in the air, and they're back in the garage. Welcome back to the Kentucky 201 for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. That's how many miles it is for this race. Going 134 laps. We're under our pit caution, and this is why.
Max Gresham got sideways under Timothy Peters and drove into Peters. And look how slow Sauter's going. And you see how fast John King went by him? You know, you can miss things better when you slow down. and King just didn't slow down.
There's the contact. Gresham went up, got into the 17.
What a job by Johnny Sauter. He drove that baby and was able to keep it off of that truck wrecking on the outside.
Hard contact for Timothy Peters.
Look at that truck up into the air. And, you know, he had minimal damage prior to that. I mean, it was damaged, but he was going to be able to continue. I don't know if there's even a rear end housing under that thing anymore.
They're working on it right now in the garage as we ride with that 17.
You hear the slight contact with the outside wall. Now watch this.
Hear the motor rev up?
Yeah, because the rear wheels are off the ground.
That's right. He had his foot on the gas.
There's the work going on in the garage. Let's go back to Hermie.
Yeah, you can see a lot of damage to the back end of this 17 truck. Timothy Peters, to this point, has elected to stay in the truck with the window net up. You can see Michael talked about a rear end housing, one right here on the ground at the back of the truck, getting ready to go in, but that's just the beginning of all the damage on the 17. A lot of work to be done, but they know if they don't get him back on the racetrack, they could see possible championship hopes going out the window.
Yeah, first 9 races this year, 8 top 10s for Timothy. The last 5 races, 4 finishes of 13th or worse.
And that has dropped him out of points contention. Again, he was the point leader before Ty Dillon was able to take that spot away. Longest green flag run tonight, 15 laps. We've had 33 caution laps already.
We ran 15 laps when they threw the green flag to start this baby, and we haven't been able to do that since.
There are 10 trucks that are off the racetrack. Brendan Newberry included in that. We've got David Mayhew that's been involved in an incident. John King most recently involved in an incident, and now Timothy Peters back behind the wall.
Heard there was a little bit of negotiation, jokingly, between the Blaney crew and Matt Kraft, or excuse me, Joey Coulter, talking about maybe there would be some form of payment if they could switch places. Well, that's not going to take place, obviously. Yeah. Ryan Blaney wants to win this race. He got the lead on that last restart in really strong fashion. See if he can keep it. It seems like, if you, like I said earlier today, talking to the pit crews down in the garage area, on the long run, everyone liked this 22 truck. Well, they haven't had a long run yet.
15 laps, the longest green flag run up to this point. We'll see how it works out now as the 29 of Ryan Blaney on the outside, Joey Coulter on the inside. 2 of our first-time winners in 2012. Back to the green flag, it's in the air.
Nice start by Ryan Blaney. Not quite able to clear Coulter, though.
Coulter also with a good restart. He works the bottom of the racetrack very well. It looks as though he's going to have the lead coming out of 2.
Yeah, that 22 truck is really strong. Been strong since they unloaded it.
We watched him closing strong on Blaney while Blaney was leading the race. He got beside him, is able to drive around him. What about John West Talley up in that 3rd spot? Here comes Brian Scott right behind him.
Running in the 4th spot, a battle for 5th, side by side between the 2 trucks. Justin Lofton and Ty Dillon. Dillon has the advantage now as he's able to get in front of that 6, and he's followed up by the 7 of Parker Kligerman.
James Busher, the 31, on the outside behind the 7 of Kligerman. They're all getting by the 6 of Justin Lofton.
Lofton not able to stay up to pace as he's dropped back to the 8th spot now. Just behind that 31 of James Busher, and we see him moving up the racetrack. Looks like his truck going away from him a bit now.
Well, you mentioned it. John West Townley's best career finish here in the series is 8th. He's done that a couple of times. Outstanding run so far for him.
We've seen that truck up front a couple of times this year, and he's gotten some trouble. It'll be fun to see John West close the deal, running in top 5 here. See if he can keep this baby together and finish it off.
See, Parker Kligerman closes in on the 3 of Ty Dillon. There's 3 of our point contenders right there, and with Timothy Peters' trouble, I would dare say that's maybe going to be the top 3 when we leave here.
Side by side from position once again. Parker Kligerman to the inside of that 3 of Ty Dillon. Preferred line has been the higher line as they go at least enter into turn 1 and 2. We'll see if he's able to hold that momentum.
Ty was able to hold that momentum through the center of the corner.
He had to drive that baby, though. You could see it bobbling around, getting sideways up on the high side. I like this 31 truck, guys. I think that it's going to come down. I mean, look how strong Coulter is out front. But no matter where you put James Busher, he's able to drive through these guys, and that's a hard job to accomplish. When they're side by side like that in front of you, it's messing up all your aerodynamics because you're running in that dirty air. But yet somehow Busher seems to be able to find his way through those problems.
We know how good that 22 truck of Coulter has been out front. He's led 21 of their 63 laps so far, most of those coming at the very beginning of the race.
Completed 63 laps. We're on 64. We see the 18 of Brian Scott move up the racetrack a bit as the 3 of Ty Dillon has caught him.
Look at that pack of trucks racing for the 3rd spot. Looks like maybe John West is a little bit slower than Brian Scott and Ty Dillon, but he's doing an amazing job holding them off, running in the middle of the racetrack right there.
Brian Scott looking down low as he'll sneak back up behind at 09. John West Townley as they go down the backstretch. Again, Coulter out in front. Ryan Blaney running second. He's got 1.4 seconds between the top 2. Now a little higher line for Brian Scott, trying to hold on to the 4th spot. Ty Dillon all over his back bumper now in 5th.
I'm like you, Michael. I think the 09 of John West may be holding up the 18 a little bit, but Brian's not been able to figure out a way to get by him. Ty's going to jump to the outside.
That's the cool thing about this racetrack, Phil. It's not, he doesn't find a way to get around him just because he's in his line, because there's many different lines you could choose. We saw Dillon high in turn 1 and 2. Heck, he goes to the bottom in 3 and 4. You can run all over this place.
Scott able to stay out in front of Ty Dillon. Still tucked in behind that 09 of John West Townley, trying to find a way around. He's all over the back bumper now, looking to the inside once again as John West Townley still runs that consistent line right through the middle of the racetrack.
I think Brian would like to go around him on the outside, but John West doesn't give him any room up there.
And this pack of trucks has slowed up James Busher's momentum. A truck that is making some moves, though, is Matt Crafton. Last time by, he was the 2nd fastest truck on the track. Now he's going to try to make his way around Nelson Piquet. Can he complete the pass?
Not going to quite clear him. Now he's going to go all the way down to the apron.
That didn't
break
work.
The draft a little bit.
Trying to make the momentum work for him, and
lost
the momentum
ground
is definitely going to work for the 30 of Nelson Piquet Jr. as we've completed 67 of the 134 laps. That means it is halfway for this race.
Thanks for doing that math, Rick. I don't think I'd ever got that one. But you're right. We're past halfway. With the threat of rain in the area, that will turn up these guys' sense of urgency. They know, as you see Matt Crafton now completing the pass on PK. And I'm telling you, this 88 truck's running well. He's got a fast truck. He's got some ground to make up. But these teams know that this baby's official, so they better be up front.
Side by side for position once again. This is for the 4th spot. It looks as though Ty Dillon is going to take it away from the 18 of Brian Scott. But now Brian Scott back on the outside, getting back by that 3, right?
When they go to the bottom, Rick, the truck just gets too bound up. Ty has been on the radio saying it rolls the center so much better when I'm in the high lane. His grandfather, Richard Childress, is here tonight. He's been on the radio talking to Ty about the preferred groove. He said stay high. And by the way, Richard's celebrating his birthday here tonight. He's got a truck in the lead and the 3 running in the top 5. But so far, Ty Dillon just gets too tight when he's on the bottom. Hermie?
Will Ray, this has been another impressive performance for the 29 of Ryan Blaney in a backup truck. Remember, he wrecked in practice this morning. He's in a backup truck, currently running 2nd. Now his truck's a little bit tight, and as we documented, he got up front by using a little bit of pit strategy. Doug Randolph, his crew chief, says if this race remains green, he'll have to come to pit road in about 20 laps.
You know, but I love that, Phil. He's in a backup truck. Faced some adversity this morning. Things haven't gone exactly like he would have planned, obviously, but yet he's been able to rebound and recover. His team has done a nice job grabbing him that track position, and he's taken advantage of it.
And he's opened up almost a 2.5-second lead right now over the 3rd place truck of John West Townley.
Right now, Joey Coulter has a 2.7 second lead over Ryan Blaney, running in 2nd. John West Townley running 3rd. And how about the battle now between the 18 and the 7? Parker Kligerman has been the truck on the move. He was able to get by the 3 of Ty Dillon. Now he goes by the 18 of Brian Scott. So Kligerman moves back up to 4.
I think the outside is the place to make the passes right now.
Another great story this year has been that young man, Parker Kligerman. From one ride to another, hadn't missed a beat. In fact, he was the favorite to win out in Iowa just based on the way he had performed during practice and qualifying. Came up short out there in Iowa, but again, another solid run. All over John West Townley now. See if he can slide to the high side and grab that 3rd spot away.
He's going to run in his tire tracks now as they work through 1 and 2. Down the backstretch they'll go. John West Townley is holding on to the 3rd position. Just behind him, Parker Kligerman, Brian Scott, Ty Dillon, Busher, Lofton, Crafton, and PK Jr. your top 10.
We'll talk about how this track has a lot of character. That's a nice way to say it's rough. These guys get to bouncing around a lot, so there are some preferred lines. Watch Ty Dillon get off the preferred line and see this truck bottom out and bounce. These things are moving around a tremendous amount during a normal lap around this track when you can run the groove you want to. But when you get out of the groove, there's a lot to deal with.
Ty lost a little bit of momentum, and that's what allowed the 7 of Parker Kligerman to get around him on the outside.
And now looking to the inside, that 31 of James Busher.
We heard Ty pedal the throttle there in the center of the corner.
We heard him talk about it wouldn't turn. It was bound up in the corner a little bit more than he would like, and that's a result of being bound up. He knew if he kept the gas down, he would wind up in the outside wall, so he had to breathe that throttle. It opened the lower groove for Busher, but he wasn't able to complete the pass.
And now we're starting to see a longer green flag run. We'll see how these trucks handle this longer green flag run. We've completed 74 of the 134 laps scheduled.
Busher's getting a run on him. It's a battle for the 3rd spot. John West still has it. Parker Kligerman has chased him down now.
We'll see if John West does the same technique, running right in the middle line, trying not to give him the preferred line up high. And once again, he's able to hold on to that position, but the 7 has been strong here as we've completed about 16 green flag laps since the green flag fell once again.
And John West is running some really good lap times. That last lap, he was the 3rd fastest truck on the racetrack, so it's not like he's just idling around there.
Yeah, and you can see these guys have put a bit of a gap over Brian Scott back there and James Busher and Ty Dillon. Busher finally gets around Dillon up to the 6th spot. He's just creeping his way forward.
Great truck for Joey Coulter out in front. He has a 3-second lead over 2nd place Ryan Blaney. The battle right now is for 4th. Townley and Kligerman. Townley running in the 3rd spot. I should say the battle for 3rd. Townley has it, but Kligerman all over his back bumper. Now he just has to find the line to be able to get by John West Townley.
You know, that's a tough job for John West to be able to focus on his line, run the line he wants to run, but then also have the pressure of Kligerman all over the tailgate of his truck. He's doing a nice job holding that position and not putting himself or Kligerman in jeopardy, just racing his line.
Big momentum there for the 7. He'll look to the inside of the 09. This pass was made up in turns 1 and 2. They stayed on the high line. Wasn't able to make the pass going into 3 and 4, but has really closed the gap now between he and John West Townley.
Yeah, Parker Kligerman would love to see just a little bit of a slip by John West and see if he could go chase down the 2nd place truck right now, Ryan Blaney. So far since this restart, John West has been immaculate.
He has been very strong, holding on to that 3rd spot. Also, Joey Coulter has been extremely strong. Has a 3.3-second lead over Ryan Blaney now. But the battle continues.
Oh, he's caught
back almost. Around goes Kligerman in the 7. Stays off of the wall, into the grass. Caution comes out once again.
The front end of the truck didn't dig into the grass. I don't believe I'd stop there, though. His tires aren't flat. Yeah, keep her going. Let's catch up to the end of the field. Come in and get our tires. He was getting really aggressive with John West Townley, trying to drive up beside him and slow his aerodynamics down by putting that right front right on John West's left rear, and the thing just switched ends. We talked about how vulnerable the truck is on the bottom. That's a great example of it. He was almost on the straightaway and he spun out.
As you mentioned, it doesn't look like there's any sheet metal damage to this 7, but let's look again how close it was between he and John West Townley.
Just right up on the side of the 09 truck, and around goes Parker Kligerman. That happened so fast. I mean, he hardly had time to react.
Do you think maybe that he got closer than he intended and maybe jerked the steering wheel left to stay off of John West?
Well, if that's what he did, John West said thank you, because they were on a collision course.
Does a nice job of getting that truck on off the racetrack.
And very fortunate when it goes. Watch Ty Dillon here. See what he sees. He sees a mess.
He sees a lot of smoke.
That's a great view when you emerge on the other side of the smoke and you see nothing in front of you.
So the caution comes out for the 6th time. We've already had 35 laps under caution.
There's another view of it. As you mentioned, he just charged up so quickly, pulled right up to his left rear quarter panel.
You know, we talk about how frustrating it is just to be able to creep up there and almost get the pass made, but not be able to quite complete it. He had an opening there, tried to jump through that opening, and turned around the wrong direction. That's the second week in a row that cat spun around when he had a really fast truck. See if he can rebound this week.
80 laps complete. Joey Coulter, your race leader, and it looks as though he's going to bring the lead lap trucks onto pit road now. They all follow him. The 29 of Blaney running second into his pit stall first, Hermie.
And Ryan Blaney told his crew chief, Doug Randolph, that 22 is fast. We got to be better through the center. So it'll be a track bar adjustment, 4 tires in Sunoco fuel for the 29. The 18 of Brian Scott, he is free on entry, tight on exit. It'll be 4 tires in Sunoco fuel for the 18 as well. Ray?
Hermie, in the middle of the screen, you see that Zaxby's truck. This is the same exact truck that they ran in Atlanta. John West says it's really handling great right through the center of the corner. In the very first pit stall, we've got Joey Coulter. He said his truck is a little bit free, but not bad enough to mess it up. A bunch of guys must have gone with some strategy. Coulter is going to roll out in about 5th position.
Yeah, we see the 31 of James Busher winning the race off of pit road. He moved up 4 spots. How about Miguel Paludo, 9 positions off of pit road?
Guys, remember now, with 53 laps to go, if this race goes the distance, that's just right at our pit window. They needed to make sure they got these things full of fuel.
That is a very good point. Can they make it all the way to the end? 53 laps remain. Around goes Parker Kligerman to bring out the caution.
Pit road, the 31 of Busher came to pit road. 2 right side tires only and an air pressure adjustment. The 32 of Miguel Paludo, no tires, fuel only for track position for Paludo. And the 88 of Crafton, 2 right side tires. Ray?
Well, Hermie, the truck that is in 4th right now would be the number 30, and they had 2 rounds down on the track bar, went right side tires. So Coulter is the first truck that has 4, and right behind him, Dillon, the same thing.
You know, I like the strategy of 2 tires for like Busher. We know how hard it is to pass. We know he's got a great truck. He was mired back there in 4th or 5th. Now he's going to have some clean racetrack. We'll see what happens.
And all afternoon today, Paludo had one of the faster trucks in practice, so he gets some track position. You never know what we'll see. They've got some guys on differing strategies. That's what makes this racing fun. I love pit road in the truck series. These guys go for it.
3 Turner trucks in the top 3 right now. We'll see how it pans out. Busher and Paludo coming to the green flag. Back in the air. We're back to racing.
Dead even as they get down to turn number 1.
Ty Dillon looking on the outside, trying to keep the momentum up. Also the 88 of Matt Crafton down low. Side by side for 3rd.
Remember what we saw that 31 truck of James Busher do down in the center of the corner on this last restart. Got a little bit of heat in those tires, and baby, he was gone around that top side.
And he just did it again around Paludo, his teammate.
And here comes 4 tires for Joey Coulter. He's going to make it 3 wide off turn 4 on the inside of Matt Crafton. Oh, off the racetrack.
Catches the skirt right there on the apron for that 22. Slows his momentum down just a bit. Still holding on to that 5th spot as he gets by the 88 of Crafton.
Look how fast he is down on the bottom. That was a rough front straightaway for him, but he was still able to clear Crafton and drive up beside Ty Dillon on the back.
How about Parker Kligerman? Just spun out a minute ago. He's back up into the top 10.
Good Coulter for Coulter in the 22 on the bottom of the racetrack. His momentum's going to get him by. Coulter moving up into the top 3 now. Ryan Scott trying to get by that 09 of John West Townley. He's at the bottom of the racetrack with 4 fresh tires as well. Takes the spot away.
Oh, did you see Lofton slide up the hill? He almost got into the side of Ryan Blaney. Blaney was able to steer up the hill a little bit and clear him.
Gave him a little extra room, didn't he?
Look at that 22 truck of Coulter, just really fast in the middle of the corner. Made the move on Dillon. He's trying to do the same to PK.
Charges into turns 3 and 4, and now has to come down the racetrack a bit as Nelson PK Jr. moves him down the track. Those 2 side by side for position. Racing for that 3rd spot out in front. James Busher, Miguel Paludo holding on to 2nd. Now it's Coulter, PK Jr. and Ty Dillon.
What a battle here in Kentucky. Differing tire strategies, differing pit strategies, and it always surfaces up the front. These guys battling for their lead.
You know, I think the 2-tire stop was great. All that would have worked fine. But did they stay in the pits long enough to get them full of fuel, Michael?
That's the question there. Like you said, Phil, right on the edge of their pit window. This thing goes green. I'm not sure all of them can make it.
I can't imagine that they beat the other guys out of the pits that changed 4 tires by so much that they stayed long enough to get them full.
Would have needed to have packed them full of fuel. Again, these have 18-gallon fuel cells. We talked about the pit window being 52 to 57 laps. That's on the outside, so they've got to have them full of fuel. Now Ty Dillon working to the inside, trying to take that spot away from Nelson Piquet Jr. Jr. holding on to the 4th spot. Ty Dillon now working the lower line, trying to get back by that 30.
Fights back on the outside, not quite able to clear him.
And our point leader needs to just be very cognizant of the fact that he can spin out in a hurry. We saw Parker Kligerman do it just a minute ago. When you're down on the bottom of the racetrack, those things will jump around on you in a hurry.
Way up the racetrack, right in front of the 30 of Nelson Piquet Jr. Ty Dillon takes the spot away.
Guys, one thing about it, we talk about whether they got them full. They only ran about 37 laps since most of them were on pit road before, so they're not. It's not going to take 15 seconds to put enough fuel in to fill them up.
Yeah, 30's done behind you. Clear about that 5 or 6.
30's done behind you. That's what the spotter is telling Ty Dillon, just so he knows there's no going to be any pressure out the back, because the 30 of Nelson Piquet is slipping all over the racetrack. And look at Joey Coulter. He's going into the 2nd spot.
Coulter takes the position away from Miguel Paludo. Now he'll set his sights on James Busher.
The 31 truck has been running some really fast laps out front with clean racetrack. We know the 22 of Joey Coulter has 4 tires. We know that truck's fast. Let's see how long it takes him to chase down Busher.
We saw Joey Coulter
about 7 out the back.
show what he can do with a fast truck at Pocono earlier this year. As you see Miguel Paludo wobble, that allows the 3 of Ty Dillon to get up to the inside and challenge for the 3rd spot. So Ty Dillon on the inside, Miguel Paludo on the outside, racing for 3rd.
We talked about the fact that the first 2 trucks with 4 tires were the Richard Childress Racing teammates of Joey Coulter and Ty Dillon. They're taking advantage of those new tires now as Dillon drives on the inside of Paludo.
Still not able to complete the pass. Ty Dillon on the bottom of the racetrack. Dives into 3. Tries to get in front of that 32. Up the racetrack he goes.
That's when you just take a deep breath, isn't it, Phil? You're like, I got to complete this pass. I'm going on in there.
This is how Joey Coulter took over that 2nd spot from Paludo. Paludo goes way up the hill. Coulter drives by on the inside.
Ty Dillon took a deep breath, drove in a little bit deeper, and then prayed that Miguel Paludo didn't come with him. He wanted to clear him before he got down to the center of the corner, and Dillon was able to do so. Great job by that young man.
Busher, Coulter, Ty Dillon, Miguel Paludo, and Nelson Piquet Jr. your top 5. Then it's Parker Kligerman, Matt Crafton, Brian Scott, Ryan Blaney, and John West Townley your top 10.
This last lap, the front 2 trucks were only separated by less than a half a tenth of a second. Let's see what they do on this lap.
Still on the lead lap, Johnny Sauter, Lofton, Jake Crum, Jason White, Ron Hornaday, Agnew, and Benning. It's been a wild ride in the Bluegrass State, but out front, James Busher flexing his muscles. Check out and subscribe to our NASCAR mobile alerts. Get the latest NASCAR race results and breaking news sent right to your phone. Text NASCAR to Speed 3 for Speed NASCAR text alerts, driven by Good Sam Roadside Assistance. Right now, driven is James Busher out in front of this field. Joey Coulter runs 2nd, Ty Dillon 3rd, Miguel Paludo trying to hold on to 4th, but Parker Kligerman working the bottom of the racetrack trying to take that spot away.
Parker's been working on Paludo for quite a few laps now. Hasn't quite been able to clear him. Just like this time, going to lose a little momentum, but is going to sneak up in front of Crafton though.
And that Crafton's a fast truck right now. I like the way he's looking. He's able to gain on these cats, and if they get to dicing it up, maybe he can make the move. We haven't seen Parker Kligerman be able to finish the pass, but he's got a good run on him off 4.
Got a slow truck up ahead. Maybe Parker can use that slow truck of Norm Benning for a pick, but I think Norm's going to stay down on the bottom of the racetrack.
Norm stays down low. They're both going to be able to go up around, and we'll see if Kligerman's able to get the advantage as they go through 1 and 2 and down the backstretch. Here comes Paludo once again to the high line. Able to get back in front of that 7, but they stay door to door. And again, Parker Kligerman charges into turn number 3, takes the spot away from Paludo.
Well, he made it work that time. Give him a little bit of confidence back. You spin out, sort of knocks you back on your heels a little bit, but he's able to work his way through this traffic, has driven up to the 4th spot. So way to recover for Parker Kligerman.
Things have really turned around for Parker Kligerman since he moved over to Red Horse Racing, driving that 7 truck. Running back in the top 5, holds on to the 4th spot now. Busher has about a half a second lead over Joey Coulter out in front of the field. And it's Ty Dillon, Kligerman, and Paluto, your top 5. Crafton all over the back bumper of Miguel Paluto, now in 6th.
Miguel's done a nice job. He hasn't made it easy for these guys to get by him. Remember, no tires on his last pit stop. Right now he's battling against guys with 2 tires and 4 tires.
Apparently the vortex theory is working here at Kentucky because we haven't seen any indication of precipitation, and that's what a lot of the crew chiefs were talking about back on lap 47 of this race.
You just made my big brother smile. He loves the vortex theory. DW is all about that, and you're right. The weather has been
We
cooperating, and
heard Nelson Piquet Jr. mention earlier he thought
spark plug wire off. It's probably a valve problem.
Thought he had a tire going down.
sounds like maybe the engine's off now. The shaking he thought at first was a tire possibly.
Outside corner, outside, right on top of you. I'm about to blow a tire, I think. Clear. I think I'm about to blow a tire.
He's dropped back to the 12th
We're ready,
spot.
let us know. We'll have to put 4 on, guys, unless we know which one it is.
I think now they feel like maybe they have some sort of an engine problem. That audio was just a few moments ago. Right now you can see him riding around the inside of the racetrack well off the pace.
And we heard earlier that Dakota Armstrong had an engine problem as well, and that's one of his teammates. So Dakota said he hoped none of his teammates had any issues, and it looks like maybe that Nelson Piquet Jr. is having that issue.
Jake Crum's about to go by in the 0-1.
The gauges are fine.
Nelson Piquet. Ray, what are they talking about?
Are you wide open?
Well, they said they have lost a cylinder in that drinkfeed.com Chevrolet. He's saying the gauges are fine there, but obviously down on power, 1 cylinder down. He's going to be trying to listen into his radio here. That's all he just said, but they are down a cylinder.
Yeah, he's about a second and a half off the pace now that's being set by James Busher up front.
When you talk about the pace that James Busher sitting up front, the 4th place truck of Parker Kligerman was our fastest guy on the track last time by. Oh, Jason White's had a problem. Looks like maybe a right front problem with the 23 gunbroker.com truck for Jason White, hard into the outside wall.
28 laps to go. Jason White brings the 7th caution out. Now what do? Do guys that were close on fuel, do they take a deep breath and say, okay, I think this is going to help us because we've got some caution laps? Or does somebody gamble and decide to come in for maybe a splash or tires to help them out?
Well, if you're up front, this is going to be a little bit insurance. If you thought you were close before, this is going to maybe get you a little bit past your window, maybe with a possible green-white checker, have enough fuel for that. But if you're at the back right now, obviously Piquet needs to come in. They need to look at, see if they can figure out what's wrong with his truck. Hornaday's back in the 14th spot. He needs to come in, and maybe guys towards Johnny Sauter's 10th, maybe he comes in.
Justin Lofton as well. There's a lot of guys that could take a chance here, maybe gain some ground, Rick.
Caught it late, right front tire bad on Jason White. Into the wall he goes. Welcome back to Sparta, Kentucky and the Kentucky Speedway. A few takers with pit road open of the lead lap trucks. Nelson Piquet Jr. obviously had an issue. We thought he was problems with his motor as well as potentially a tire having issues. We see the 17 of Timothy Peters back out on the racetrack. It looks as though he can probably make up about 3 spots on the racetrack, but 3 points very big in this championship run as we see our points as they're running on the track now.
See, James Busher right now would only be 4 points out of the lead. He would be the big gainer if he can hold on and win here. You see Jason White is taking his truck back to the garage here. Miguel Paluto, remember we documented he went fuel only on his last pit stop. He came down pit road just now too.
Justin Lofton, another truck that made it onto pit road. Hermie.
Well, as Phil just talked about, the 32 of Miguel Paluto had stayed on the racetrack with no tires last time. They were dropping back out of the top 5, so they came to pit road, took 4 tires, a slight air pressure adjustment, trying to get back up front before this race ends. Ray?
Well, Hermie, sometimes it's good to be off sequence, and Justin Lofton has certainly been that tonight. He just pitted at lap 108, put tires on that truck. Guys, he gave up 9th position on the racetrack to come in and pit. He'll restart 13th. Can he get to the front in 20-some laps?
Well, he can get back to 9th, certainly. Now, he put 4 tires on, so 4 tires is going to mean a lot, I think. Justin Lofton and Miguel Paluda with 4 tires here. It's going to be interesting to see how far they can go.
We saw Coulter and Ty Dillon just cutting through the field when they had 4 tires and everyone else had no tires or just 2. So it'd be a huge advantage. Can they catch all the way up to the leaders? I don't think so, but with enough cautions, you never know.
And I don't think they were going to anyway.
Fantasy picks. It doesn't look like I'm getting out of the cellar anytime soon. Mayhew is going to end this one in 26.
It was a good pick, though, Greg. I mean, you had the first pick. You could have picked anybody in the field.
Could have picked Coulter.
You could have picked
Ty Dillon.
Like a lot of people that are right up front.
Could have picked Parker.
Yeah. But
Brian
again, it was not a bad pick. Unfortunately for David and that BKR racing team, they've had some trouble.
Yeah,
so I think you're going to stay in the cellar.
But you're probably getting okay.
Used to
It's
it.
the first time. It's the first time I've been down there and picked.
Why do we just assume you've been down there a lot?
I don't know, but I know I'm feeling that way right now. I'm feeling like I'm spending a lot of time in the cellar. Buescher, though, on the other end of it. He's been out front. He's dominated the 1.5 miles this year. Already won 3 1.5 races, or 1.5 racetracks races on those. Joey Coulter won at Pocono. He's going to restart second. Ty Dillon has been good this year, has been to victory lane already. Parker Kligerman has been strong here, but hasn't been to victory lane.
He was my fantasy pick. I said he's going to be the 8th first-time winner this season.
And it looks like that still could become a reality. He certainly got a fast truck. He spun through the grass and still running in the 4th spot.
Restarts on the outside of row number 2. Coming to the green flag, Buescher and Coulter. Green flag back in the air, we're back underway.
Hang on, these are always fun.
23 laps of racing to go. Ty Dillon looks to the inside. Joey Coulter goes to block. Doesn't have enough room to do it. Kligerman on the outside trying to take second away.
Kligerman takes advantage of those guys being side by side. Now he's side by side with Ty Dillon for second.
Kligerman with the momentum on the high side has the advantage over Ty Dillon as they go into turn number 3. Things heating up as we've got only 23 laps of racing to go.
Joey Coulter seems as though he's going to go with the 7 of Kligerman. Maybe see push him down the corner. Now he's going to switch to the inside in his teammate.
And now looking to the inside of his teammate, trying to take that spot away.
That was a good move by Coulter. Ty Dillon had to move up the track a little bit to give Coulter some room, and Coulter's driven on the inside of Dillon. Aggressive racing between the teammates.
Coulter on the bottom. Ty Dillon up the second groove.
Oh, Coulter got a little bit loose down there. Never backed off, though.
21 laps to go when they cross the stripe. Coulter and Dillon still battling for that second spot. Coulter with the advantage last time by.
Oh, but Dillon takes the advantage back in the corner. Is he going to bring Kligerman along with him?
Just behind him, Matt Crafton sideways, almost into the wall, is able to catch it. But Crafton was sideways. It looked as though he had someone bump him as he was working through 1 and 2.
Joey Coulter going to try to move up to the inside of Parker Kligerman. He has his fender up there.
Coulter got loose the last time by when he was on the inside of his teammate Ty Dillon. He needs to complete this pass so he doesn't spin that truck around.
Here comes Kligerman working the high line, trying to get by Joey Coulter. Coulter holding tough down at the bottom, wiggles as he comes out of turn 2. That allows Kligerman to get by and takes third.
Joey needs to catch his breath there. That's 2 laps in a row where he had his truck sideways. You can't continue to do that and not get spun around. And I think maybe Joey says, okay, I'm going to ride in 4th for a bit.
Ty Dillon, the fastest truck on the racetrack at last lap, about 1/10 of a second faster than Buescher, our leader. This time about 6/100ths faster than Buescher.
Buescher, 0.7 of a second, separating he and second place Ty Dillon. Dillon trying to reel him in. Kligerman running 3rd, Coulter 4th, Brian Scott is 5th. John West Townley having a career night in the 6th position.
How about Johnny Sauter up in the 7th spot here with a major accident earlier on?
Johnny Sauter holding tough in 7th. Ryan Blaney after that win a week ago in Iowa running in the 8th spot. Lofton is 9th. After coming onto pit road, getting 4 fresh tires, back into the position that he gave up to come onto pit road, and Paludo rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, Lofton and Paludo with those 4 tires have made their way up into the top 10.
You know, Phil, you talked about Ty Dillon being a little faster than Buescher a couple laps ago. That time by Parker Kligerman was the fastest truck. It's pretty much a standoff up front. Each driver running a fast lap every other time by.
That clean racetrack, so critical for the guys up front. James Busher now has put about 0.7 of a second between he and Ty Dillon. Battle for 8th though. Lofton to the inside of the 29 of Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, Justin Lofton's going to try to make those 4 tires work and get by Blaney. Blaney fights back on the outside. Now Paluto's going to go to the outside and follow Blaney.
As those two stay side by side, Paluto trying to figure out the fastest line, who to follow. Lofton up the racetrack, pushing the 29 of Blaney out of the groove. Blaney able to keep it going the right direction. They stay side by side.
You know, it's been a rough patch of races here for Justin Lofton. He's still racing very aggressively, though, down on the inside of Blaney. Can't quite make the move around Blaney. In fact, Miguel Paluto is going to come along with Ryan Blaney.
So Paluto takes a spot away from Lofton.
You see PK right behind them. He's obviously found out what was wrong with his truck and fixed it.
Running exact same lap times. Busher and Dillon 1 and 2. Only 15 laps to go here in Kentucky. Final 12 or 11 laps now from Kentucky Speedway. Out front, it's James Busher. Ty Dillon running second. Kligerman is third.
Look at that battle for the second spot. Kligerman and Joey Coulter have closed right up on our point leader, Ty Dillon. Ty's holding them off so far, but man, those trucks behind Ty are really fast right now.
James Busher's loving this. These guys battling for the second spot, all 3 of them here. James Busher has about a second-half lead, continuing to run fast laps.
I think we've got to point out once again, John West Townley running in the 6th spot could have a career best finish here tonight. He's run a very clean race and has run in the top 10 almost the entire time.
Ran a lot of this race up in the top 5 in that 3rd spot and did an amazing job of just racing those guys hard, not making mistakes. So you're right, Phil. Rick, not only a career best finish, but I think a career night for that young man.
Ray, we talk a lot about career best finishes, but right now our point leader, number 3, running pretty strong up here in the top 3.
Currently in second, Rick, and this is a brand new truck that they used in Atlanta to go to Victory Lane, chassis number 26. Ty very happy with it, most all the way around, still just a little bit tight in the center for the number 3. Currently running in second place. You see Kligerman right there on his bumper, and then behind him, here comes another RCR truck, Joey Coulter, who's trying to work the bottom. So far, they haven't thought that would work, but Coulter saying he gets really good grip coming up off of the corner. Now on the race hub earlier this week, I told everyone that Joey Coulter's deadline to sign with RCR had come and passed. Well, I talked with his dad the other day. They said there still is an option that Joey could race at RCR next year, but they have gone around and talked to some other teams like KBM, also to Eddie Sharp Racing, looking at their options, trying to put Joey in a position to run for a championship one more year in the Camping World Trucks. But it is not a foregone conclusion that he won't be back at RCR.
And a great pass for second. Kligerman able to take the spot away from Dillon.
When they came off turn 2, Ty Dillon got tight. He pushed up the hill, lost his momentum. It gave Kligerman the opportunity, though, to the inside. But Phil, when he got down to turn 3 and 4, Ty said, not so easy. And he ran it in there hard, trying to make it work on the outside. But I think that truck's going away a little bit on Ty Dillon.
Coulter trying to take the spot away from his teammate. He works to the bottom of the racetrack now as we rode along with the 3 of Ty Dillon.
Remember, every position is a point. Ty Dillon just lost a point. He's about to lose another one, possibly to his teammate.
It'll be interesting to watch this run by Parker Kligerman toward James Busher. Kligerman's faster than Busher. Maybe he's got something for him here late in the going.
The other thing that factors into this championship hunt, you get bonus points for winning a race. And right now, out in front of the field, the 31 of James Busher.
He knows how to run pretty good on these 1.5 miles too, boys. He's won 3 of them, and looks like he's catches a green flag run to the checker. He's going to win this one, but you never know.
5 to go here in Kentucky. Busher out front, Kligerman running second, Ty Dillon, Joey Coulter, Brian Scott, your top 5.
We talked about Iowa, how people needed to make a statement if they were going to win this championship. Ty Dillon was the only one that made the statement at Iowa. How about here? You got Busher, Kligerman, Ty Dillon running 1, 2, 3. The only guy that stumbled here is Timothy Peters in the 17, and it looks like he's going to finish about 21st.
And that stumble was because he got hit once again. And issues out of his hands, but they went back into the garage, were able to work, got 3 points out of coming back out onto the racetrack. They are back in the garage now and have ended their night. But the battle continues for position here. Ty Dillon trying to stay in front of his teammate, Joey Coulter.
And there you see Parker Kligerman driving away from those two. Not enough time to catch Buescher, I don't believe, unless there's a caution here late in the going.
Buescher has a 1.8 second lead over Parker Kligerman.
You feel good about your gas tank, right, Phil? We're going to make it all the way to the checker.
I think so. I think we're going to be okay. We had that caution flag, give us a little bit of insurance.
Look at Coulter. He's going to peek to the outside of his teammate.
3 laps of racing to go. Now Ty Dillon, he needs that point. He wants that point for this championship, and his teammate is battling to take that point away from him.
And I love the fact that their teammates and Joey Coulter's going up there and trying to take over that 3rd spot.
And he is all over him.
Coulter still on the back bumper. There's a difference between 1, 2, 3, and 4. Buescher sees just 2 laps of racing to go as he crossed the stripe. Kligerman, a very valiant effort, rebounding after what ended up being a very disappointing race in Iowa, has come back running very strongly in the 2nd spot, just doesn't have enough time to catch that 31 of Buescher as the laps have wound down. Coming out of turn number 4, this time by, Buescher sees the white flag fly. 1.5 miles of Kentucky to go.
There's a battle for 3rd. Ty Dillon has a little bit of breathing room right now over Joey Coulter.
Coulter's been trying to peek to the outside of Dillon. Now he just settles in behind Ty.
We talk about how good the 11 of Todd Bodine has been on 1.5-mile racetracks. Well, in 2012, the one who has been dominant on 1.5 miles is the 31 of Buescher. Buescher is going to win at Kentucky.
Do that again next week. Thank you.
That sounds good. Let's do that again next week.
Buescher sweeps the races here at Kentucky. How about this? Ryan Blaney just in front of the 30 of Nelson Piquet Jr. And a little contact there as they came out of turn number 4.
John West Townley, a top 10 finish, not his career best, but certainly I think a career night for that young man, running up toward the front all night long and bringing it home in a top 10 spot. Great job, John West.
Let's hear from the winning crew chief. He's with Harvey.
Well, a team effort tonight. 2 tires on your last pit stop got your track position, and your driver finished the job.
Yes, sir. He drove his butt off there. Guys took 2 tires early, kind of put them in a box. So I guess I
could have warned you about that, but it wouldn't have been as fun.
Well, I just want to thank God. I want to thank my family. I want to thank Steve Turner, the whole Turner family, for giving us the opportunity to do this. We just got to keep it going. Kind of tried some things there for a little bit, fell back a little bit. James is driving. He's off his game right now. These guys, I can't say enough about these guys. Guys at the shop, everybody does a good job for us.
That's win number 4 in the season for James Buescher.
4th career win, all coming in 2012. So he has figured out how to celebrate at 1.5-mile racetracks, and his team also will join him at Victory Lane when we come back. Talk about guts and glory. How about our Ram guts and glory for this Kentucky 201? The 13 of Johnny Sauter early on has a left rear tire go down. Around he goes, some contact made, damage to that 13 truck, but the team went to work on it. And how about the finish he's able to come back with?
Yeah, it's an amazing the repairs that Joe Shear and his guys made. And then Johnny fights his way back to a top 10 finish. You see they had to actually build a new quarter panel and zip finishing 6th.
Joe Shear and Johnny Sauter, they're short track racers. They just made the right side of their truck look like a short track car.
And how about this? I'm not sure if he can be disappointed for his 5th second place finish, Ray.
Well, Rick, the all-time record for second place finishes before you get to victory lane is 6, and he's closing in on it. 5 times the bridesmaid, but you had a good points night tonight. You happy or are you disappointed?
That's a horrible statistic. I'm not gonna lie. I'm disappointed, man. I let my team down. I had a bad restart there at the 99 when we got the lead on the fuel-only stop, or essentially the lead. You know, the 99 stayed out, and I didn't know what he was doing. He was driving on the apron, and he was so low I didn't know how to judge it, and I lost the lead. and we never led a lap, which hurt us. We came here, with the intention where we are in points to lead the most laps and lead a lap and win this race. And then I spun out racing for third. So came back. I'm proud of these guys. We didn't put a mark on the truck, but you can't make mistakes like that and win a championship. But this is a championship caliber team, and hopefully we got a championship caliber driver here over the next 6 races.
Parker Kligerman, 4th in points, just 30 out. Let's get to victory lane. James Busher, 4 wins this season. Hermie?
You're right, Ray. 4 wins for Busher in the 31. Well, welcome back to victory lane, James Busher. You guys said it. That's the way to go towards winning a championship, getting it done when you need it.
Yeah, absolutely. Iowa was rough for us. We had a fast truck. We've had some tough breaks this year, so to be able to win races when we have the opportunity is really cool. Robbie Fast, my spotter tonight, Jeff Dickerson's up in New Hampshire. He was spotting for me at Texas and spotting for me at the first Iowa, and had 2 races get robbed from us. So, it was cool to finally win one with him. And Michael Shelton had an awesome call to take 2 tires at the end and get that track position. The clean air was really important. And once we got this fraternal order of Eagles Chevy out front, it was on kill. So I mean, it was driving great. I got to thank everybody at Turner Motorsports, Great Clips, FOE, AccuDoc Solutions, Exide Batteries, Brandt, everybody that helps this team come to the racetrack every week.
That's James Busher. He climbs up to 2nd in points, only 4 points out. Ray?
Hey, Hermie, I'm in an RCR sandwich over here. Good night as these guys bring home top 5s. A pole tonight, a good run. You satisfied, Joey Coulter?
Yeah, I wish we could have been battling for the win there, but it was a good night for us. Real happy with the pole, and we ran strong all night. Got a couple bonus points, I think, so that'll be good. We need everything we can get.
All right, let's hear from the teammates standing over here. Ty, I talked about the vibe. Is the vibe still good?
Heck yeah. I mean, 3 top 3s in a row. I mean, what more could you ask for? James ran a good race. Our Bass Pro Shop Chevy was great. I got to thank UNOH, Tag Heuer, everybody who helps out. We had a good truck. We were really fast on a couple laps, but long run we just get too tight. So, heck, we're on a roll right now. Top 3s in a row. Only way we'll get any better just win. That'll come.
Your brother won at Vegas.
Hopefully we can do the same. We got a fast truck, so we're going to go for it.
All right. Ty Dillon comes home in 3rd position tonight. Coulter finished 4th.
There's Pop down to congratulate Ty Dillon as well as Joey Coulter. Coming up next, it's Sprint Cup qualifying from Loudon, which took place a little bit earlier today. But we've got one more segment to chat with some of the drivers and enjoy a little bit more of this Kentucky Speedway race.
Next week, the Camping World Truck Series heads west to Sin City as they visit the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. This year's championship race is still anybody's game. But in Vegas, it's time to start making some gambles. Who will go all in and play the high-stakes game in Vegas? Tune in to find out. Starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, followed by flag-to-flag coverage. Only on Speed.
We'll handicap that one in Vegas with the setup. Take a look at our unofficial point standings with just 6 races to go. 4 points separate the top 2.
It's amazing that Parker Kligerman has a great finish, ties his career best, and he gains 1 point on Ty Dillon.
And look all the way down to Matt Crafton in 6th, though. You've got to tell me that Matt doesn't think I can get on a roll, win a couple races. Those guys have some problems. I'm right in the middle of this baby.
Our 4-point standings very tight at the top of the list. Let's go back trackside to Hermie Sadler.
Well, Timothy Peters in the garage. Another long night for your team. Talk about what happened on the racetrack.
The 8 just got in there a little deep and got in our side, and around we went. But the guys on this Red Horse Racing Tundra did a great job. From the 7 to 11, all the guys on the 17 worked their butts off getting us back out there and gained 4 spots. And come Homestead, those 4 spots that we gained tonight from their hard work is going to pay dividends for us. So not out of this thing yet, but tough night. Statute of limitations at midnight, so we're going to Vegas.
What will be your role as a driver and an experienced one to help rally your team before next week?
Oh, we got momentum. We got confidence. We've had a great year. I mean, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Character builds this team week in and week out. So we've had a couple of races not of our liking after Bristol. So we're going to Vegas and we'll persevere from that for sure. So this isn't going to get us down.
I don't think we've seen the last of the 17 team and Timothy Peters this year. Ray?
Well, Hermie, I told you in the setup show, I would have picked James Busher if I'd have been allowed, but I wasn't, and I went with this guy. He started 10th and brought me home a 5th in my fantasy run tonight. Track position meant a lot tonight, Brian.
Yeah, it was fun to come out here and represent Dollar General, Flexco, M&M's, everybody, and just have an opportunity to run the truck series here in Kentucky. Track position was everything. When we were out front, we were able to run pretty good, and we just had to overcome too many positions on the last run to get up there and really challenge for it. Congratulations to James. I wish we could have gone up there and battled him, but hopefully we learned to improve this mile-and-a-half program. And because I finished in the top 10, Dollar General will give 10% off Monday on online purchases. So remember to go online and buy some stuff.
I'll have to fire up my computer. He started 8th on that last run and comes home 5th. That's Brian Scott in the number 18.
Thanks, Ray. Again, a reminder, coming up next, the big boys from Loudon. Sprint Cup qualifying. They'll set the field here in just a few moments, so stay right here on Speed. Just for Men, Auto Stop, fastest pit stop. And again, James Busher and the crew, a great job on pit road.
Not only the pit stop itself, Rick, but the strategy this team used all night long. They were able to find out what that truck was like when it was back in traffic, then they were able to put it out front and take advantage of those 4 tires. Watch this stop, lightning fast.
Yeah, this is one of the 4 tire changes. He beats everybody off pit road that changed 4 tires. Later on, it was a 2-tire pit stop that got him track position, carried him to victory.
And James Busher once again in victory lane. It's the 4th time in the Camping World Truck Series he has been to victory lane. All 4 of his wins have come on mile-and-a-half racetracks. And guess what? In 1 week, we're back to a mile-and-a-half racetrack in Las Vegas.
He's got to be licking his chops. Those are his wheelhouse.
Has the momentum, has a shot at the points lead. 4 points away right now. Ty Dillon, your point leader. James Busher, your race winner. Cup qualifying next.
I believe they found a shot on the racetrack. Okay, yeah, that's probably fine. What happened? The throttle's stuck.
Look at Brad Keselowski and Jimmy Johnson as they come back onto the racetrack.
These